Hello, everybody. Welcome to Megazord Radio. It is the show where we talk about Power Rangers. It's pretty cool. I don't remember if we had like an intro that we do every time that's like the same words. I don't know. I should have. I checked the podcast for the end to see what song I put in there because I forgot. But I did not check what the intro was. So, you get it. It's Megazord Radio. It's Power Rangers. I'm Riely. Here's Nightster.
Hey guys.
We're back, finally resuming our regular coverage of Power Rangers episodes after our long hiatus and our catch-up episode with our beautiful new co-host.
Yep. Thanks for a little compliment there. Was not expecting that, but love to hear it.
Now I gotta look. I
Well,
usually made Crow do this, but now I'm looking at the wiki anyway, because I'm not taking notes anymore as a thing I'm trying. I'm just gonna use the wiki. Because I did it in Kira's Kingdom, our Death Note podcast, and nobody cared, and it was fine. So I think I'm done spending 4 hours on 20-minute episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers taking notes. I'm gonna use the notes that the people of Ranger Wiki took for me and see how that goes. If it feels like we're missing too much of my personal flair, I might switch back to taking notes. This is an experiment that I'm trying here.
always good to try new formats.
Yes, I'm trying to find Mighty Morphin Power Rangers episode guide because I don't know if these were written or directed by the same people. And the Ranger Wiki page just has like 3 people listed. I don't know if they all wrote both episodes or if like one of them wrote one. So I'm trying to find, because we usually say the writer and director and when it aired, and I want to make sure I have that right for each part because we're talking about part 1 first, obviously. That would be the sequence of events.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, is that director? Is that row? Oh, that's written by. Okay, directed, written. Directed is left, written is right. Got it. Alright, Island of Illusion, part 1. I fucking forgot what direction it was. This is not my day.
What do you mean, what direction? What info are you looking for?
For the writer and director, but I have to scroll down on the like chart, so I can't see what the categories are, and I keep forgetting what order the director and the writer goes in before I get back down to Island of Illusion. Director's left, writer's right. Writer's right. That shouldn't be hard to remember. The writer is on the right, because the same word.
But
See, there we go. Now that I've made that connection, it should be easy. Okay, so this one was directed by Terrence H. Winkless, and
yeah,
written by Chris Shun and Shuki Levy. Looks like they do both have the same director. And for part 2, Stuart St. John just gets in on the party. He didn't show up for work when they wrote part 1, but then he came back. So it's the same 2 writers and director on both episodes, and then part 2 just has a third writer. So there we go. Island of Illusion, folks. It's time to talk about Island of Illusion Part 1. It aired, by the way, I forgot that part. Aired November 2nd, 1993, Part 1. And Part 2 aired on November 3rd.
did.
So let's talk about this. So we start off, Zach's practicing for some dancing. He's got a dance competition coming up. And Bulk and Skull show up and they're like, "You suck." And Zach's like, "Maybe they're right though." for some reason. For some reason that's Zach's reaction to this information. So keep
Even
that in
though
your pocket.
even though he knows and it's been well established that he doesn't suck at dancing.
No, he's very good at dancing actually. He in fact is so good at dancing that he developed it into a fighting style that is extremely effective.
When one person says that he sucks, he's like, yeah, maybe that's true.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's true. So meanwhile, Rita is up to no good. She's gonna summon Lokar, which I did not know happened this episode. I totally forgot Lokar got involved in Island of Illusion because I think he's in Doomsday. And I thought that was his only appearance, but I guess not. I guess he's also in Island of Illusion. Or maybe he's only in Island of Illusion, which will be funny when we get to Doomsday. And I'm like, oh, so I've remembered this episode wrong for my entire life. Got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's summoning Lokar. Goldar is like, oh, we're gonna send them to the Island of Illusion. Oh.
Rangers, you'll be going to the island.
Ah, they're gonna go to the Island of Illusion and they're gonna disappear forever. Ah. That's Goldar. That's what he says.
I don't know why I turned him into a pirate when I tried it. We're sending them to the island.
Me hearties.
Got me hardy, yo ho.
She's also summoning Mutitus, by the way. Mutitus
Oh,
and Lokar both.
oh yeah,
So
I forgot about Mutitus.
yeah,
He's
there
kind
is a monster of the week in this episode, which I kind of forgot that there was. Like, I kind of forgot about all the Power Ranger stuff that happens in part one. I forgot about a lot of Island of Illusion. Island of Illusion is a very interesting episode. Because part one, very little of it takes place in the Island of Illusion. And in part two, we find out that we've been freaked on the Okie Doke, and it's just Power Rangers' first clip show. The first of many clip shows that we will have to sit through throughout this journey through all of Power Rangers.
which is one of my least favorite things about the show, but we'll deal with it.
I mean, I like the framing mechanism here. This episode is interesting. There's a lot of weird shit going on. We'll get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Island of Illusion. They're gonna send the Rangers there. Mutitus is coming. Lokar is coming. Crazy stuff going on up there on the moon. Then we go back to the youth center. Bulk challenges Zack to a dance-off, which is a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby situation, I think.
Yeah.
And it goes exactly how you would think. And Bulk falls over and embarrasses himself as usual. Man, it's not even that, like, because they embarrass themselves for the whole show, but it's like it's so like that you want them to fail right now. And that becomes very quickly not the case as the show progresses. And I'm like, I want you guys to be better. Because I know you can do it. I know you're gonna do it very soon, but I want it to be sooner.
Yeah,
So
like, come on,
yeah,
guys.
Bulk spills. Skull laughs at him, assumedly, because that's what usually happens. I assume that happens.
I'm pretty sure he does,
Um,
yeah.
But then Zach's like, yeah, I beat him, but that doesn't mean I'm good though. And then he leaves. He just fucking storms off. After a successful dance-off that should prove to him and everyone else that he is the Mac Daddy, as it were. He's just like, yeah, but still maybe I might lose though, and he fucking stops off.
Oh, I just won, but I might lose in the future, dude. Come on.
And
The
also his
only
competition, I guess there's probably more competitors they don't show, right? There has to be. But the only other competitor we see in the dance contest, spoilers for the end of part two, is Bulk, who he just defeated.
yeah, it's like if your only competition is someone that you've already proven you can beat with ease, why are you so, you know, like in a huff about this? Even though, yeah, there probably was others, but still.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. We go back to the moon. Rita's like, yes, Zach is doubting himself. This is perfect. And she makes a storm for some reason. She makes an earthquake again. Her signature move.
Ma- Maybe that's how
So
she summons Lokar.
the Power
Weather.
Rangers, the remaining Power Rangers besides Zach, who was stomped away, they contact Zordon. And Zordon's like, "Fuck, I don't even know what she's doing this time. This is bad, y'all."
Y'all.
This sucks, y'all. You better be ready. And so the Power Rangers go to look for Zack, but it's time for America's favorite game show, Nightster, because there's some kids who Tommy
Why
was
is
teaching a
Tommy
karate
not
class.
there?
Tommy was teaching a karate class earlier, and the kids are scared for the earthquake. So he's like, I can't leave the kids, man. You guys got to go on without me. So that's America's favorite game show. Why can't Tommy morph with everyone else today? It's because he has
Des-
to take care of some kids.
Despite the fact that he gets called by Zordon not too long later, and he's just like, "Oh, all right. Ernie, can you watch these kids? All right, cheers." Like,
To be fair, like I guess they were kind of in the middle of an active earthquake at that moment. So like Tommy's like, I can't leave these kids I'm responsible for in an earthquake. So I get it. Like this is definitely a way better reason than for some reason I suck at putties today and they put me in a net
yeah.
and made me drop my shit. We'll talk about Tommy and putties later, by the way, because that's a big complaint I have about this episode. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Uh,
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
so he stays behind the other Rangers. They find Zack in the park, and then it's putty time. The putties flip in. Power Rangers are fighting him off. They don't morph yet, so I guess they'll say the
Yeah.
Power Rangers a little bit of. They are the Power Rangers at all times, but they are not Power Rangers right now until Goldar and Scorpina show up, and then they do morph.
Yeah.
Um, which I'm
And
glad Scorpina's in this show now, man. I love
very underused,
Scorpina.
I think. Like so far, at least, she's been very underused.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's kind of a sparing villain. Uh, Throughout season one, we get a decent bit of her, but not as much as you'd like. And then she shows up once in season two and never again.
She's so cool.
I know it sucks.
I guess it might just be a case of like footage from the
Yeah,
center.
like there's only so much footage of that particular Japanese lady. And I guess they found like an American actress they were satisfied with, for the season two episode, and then she like wasn't interested in coming back, so they were like, I guess we just like won't use Scorpina anymore.
And there is more to say about Sentai on this episode because holy crap, there's something that I'm not sure even you'd be aware about when it comes to Lokar.
Why isn't Lokar like? Well, what is Lokar in the Sentai? I forget. I know I've had this explained to me before. I know he's very important as
He's very
compared to
important.
this show where he's not actually that important at all.
Unless I'm mistaken, he's one of the main villains in Zyuranger. He is called Satan. So he's basically Satan. He's the devil. I'm pretty sure. Uh,
Interesting.
fact check. Dai Satan, true leader of the Bedore gang, the true main antagonist of Zyuranger.
Okay, so this is the final boss of G Ranger right here is Lokar.
Yeah, who actually returned in like quite recently, actually. In
Damn, they're bringing back Great Satan or whatever, Lokar.
Dai Satan, he became Ultimate Dai Satan
Whoa.
in um, Super Sentai Strongest Battle, which we need to watch. By the way, it's only 4 episodes.
Maybe we should do like a thing for Strongest Battle, I think. If we watch
Yeah,
Strongest Battle, like a Toku Thrill thing, probably.
yes, yeah, it's 4 episodes. It's got Marvelous. It's got
Were there
uh
multiple Strongest Battles or just the one?
just the one, I'm pretty sure.
Cause like I keep hearing about the Strongest Battle shit, and there's like so much that I'm like, surely this must be multiple things that I'm seeing, but it's all the same thing. Damn.
It all happens really fast. It's just this show where a villain called Rita, not the Rita that we know, a different
Different
Rita,
Rita.
uh, kind of has this purple crystal that can grant a wish, and every time members of a team of Rangers fight each other, and these teams are assorted randomly into fitting themes, like the vehicle team or the dinosaur team, the acrobatics team, the curry loving team, even, which was one of them. Um, every time one of them won a fight, they would get the crystal, and the winner was whoever got the like last piece or something, and they would get a wish granted. So it was just Sentai fighting Sentai, which then I'm spiraling into stuff that's
Yeah,
gonna end up.
no, I mean we do that all the time. It's fine. We got time to fill. I don't know how much we're gonna have to say about a lot of this, considering the second half is half of it is a clip show. But the fucking as far as strongest battle, I don't even remember what happens in the shot anymore because it's been so long. But I know I saw a shot of the red Juoger doing something so awesome that I was like, bro, if all Toku looked like this, I would never watch anything else. This is the sickest shit I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. I don't know if they were just like pumping the budget full for that strongest battle shit, but this one like action shot of Juo Red was fucking crazy. It was so awesome.
Get it right, bro. It's Duo Eagle.
Juo Eagle, whatever. He's the red Juoger. He's the red one.
Yeah, the Red Duojo. There's a lot of clips you could be talking about. Like, it might be the time where he soloed 3 different Rangers at once. It might be the time where he and Marvelous
I
took
think
down Void Knight
the if this
apart.
narrows it down at all, I think the blue live man was there.
Okay, this was definitely the time he took down 3 at once.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the one then.
It was supposed to be a 3-on-3, but um, for some reason Yamato just said, "You know what? I can do this myself," and he did.
It
He
was
absolutely did.
such an amazing shot. I was so taken aback.
Yeah, I loved it. It was an amazing episode. The
Uh,
final
s-
episode was the best one, but
so Goldar and Scorpina are beating the shit out of the Power Rangers.
oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and Rita does her chant. She summons Mutitus, who comes out giant. He's giant by default. So the Rangers call the Megazord. I believe no tank action this time. Zero tank action. Right to battle mode. Uh, and yeah, they're trying to get him. Rita comes to watch in person, as she tends to do sometimes, hanging out on a fire escape, one of her favorite locations, fire escape. And then a giant fireball flies through the sky. And it's Lokar. He's here. He's a giant head in the sky. And guess what? He's voiced by Robert Axelrod, which, if you've seen season 2, makes him hard to differentiate from a certain other character.
If I have not yet, so it's probably going to be interesting to find out who you're talking about.
That was a interesting thing. Well, I mean, you do know who I'm talking about because we also do Cosmic Fury here, so it's Lord Zed that I'm talking about.
Oh, Lord,
But
Lord Zed, he comes in season 2. Wow.
he does, and he's got the same voice actor as Lokar, so it was kind of interesting to hear his evil villain voice before he becomes the like real evil villain that he is for a long time. So
I don't,
that was interesting.
I don't quite remember Lokar speaking though. He just kind of laughed,
He laughs and he's like, I'm Lokar. You Power Rangers are bad. ah.
and he breathes ice.
Well, he has like
Oh,
magical breath that like makes the monsters stronger. I think is what's said. Yeah. Because he does it to Mutitus. I don't know if that's now or later, but he does it to Mutitus, and it like makes him a stronger form.
oh yeah, that's right. And I think it was also that breath which also sent the Rangers to the island.
Yes, I believe so. But we're not quite there yet. We're going to the youth center, where Tommy gets the call from Zordon, as mentioned, leaves Ernie to watch the kids, and morphs into the Green Ranger. This is when the breath happens, and Mutitus becomes stronger. Uh, Mutitus is about to destroy the Megazord, and then Dragonzord and Tommy triumphantly appear. But then the Zords get covered in toxic foam. It's toxic, you see.
Yeah,
So it's bad
that's
for
important. It's
robots.
toxic. Yeah.
So it's robot bad. You can't. I don't think robots could be toxic.
Just say it's like, I don't know, it rusts or whatever.
Steel types are immune to poison type moves. Nightster.
Actually, what is strong against steel?
Fighting, fire, and ground. I think that's it.
Oh yeah, yeah. So just make it like a fiery thing that gets thrown at the Zords.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have footage to uphold. I don't know what that foam is in Jew Ranger. You see, the Jew Ranger robots, I do believe, could get poisoned because they're very alive, whereas the Power Ranger Zords are really not depicted that way. Besides Dragon Zord, but Dragon Zord being poisoned wouldn't really affect the Power Rangers at all because the Dragon Zord doesn't even get driven. Like it's not like Tommy's in there, so like
No, I'm
just
just
send
kind of
Dragon Zord home.
Tommy is always either seen A, standing on the sidelines playing the flute, B, on it on the Dragonzord's head, which you can clearly tell now it's just a toy affixed
Go
to the
wash the toxic foam off in the water, Dragon Sword, where you live, in your house.
or C, he's in the actual um a Megazord with the others briefly.
Yeah, that is a weird shot that comes up later. But yeah, so they get covered with toxic foam, and the Power Rangers evacuate the Zords. Also, Tommy like falls, I guess, because he wasn't in Dragon Zord, but it also shows him falling. So wherever
Um,
Tommy was, he fell, I guess.
guess he was on top of Dragonzord, but they just didn't. They decided
Show
not to
that
on top.
he was hidden behind the horn in the shot where we saw the Dragon Sword get covered in the foam.
Makes sense in my opinion. And the reason that we don't see foam on him is because he was demorphed. You know, he was morphed when the foam was
Yeah,
getting.
true. So the foam disappears. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. So anyway, Lokar sends him into the island of illusion. And we go to the command center, and Alpha's like, "Oh shit, the Power Rangers got sent to another dimension." And Zordon's like, "We cannot help them. Only one thing can help them now: their confidence in themselves." And it's like, "Oh no," because earlier Zach didn't have confidence in himself, so that's a bad situation for them to be in at this particular moment.
Yeah. And
So the Rangers are now at an island. It's called the
they're
Island of
walking
Illusion.
around.
They don't have their communicators. They don't have their morphers. They're walking around, and it's like, oh shit, we can't contact Zordon. We can't morph. Like, are we? How do we get out of here? And eventually, they hear some flute. They hear somebody just going off on a flute. And they find a little person, which I think they had like he was like running around behind them. Like you see a shot of him like hooded, like
Yeah.
running. And they're like, "What the is somebody?" And then they hear the flute music, and then they find the little man, and he's Quagmire. And Quagmire is very interesting. A very interesting choice. Quagmire is.
I like him. Like he's got his rhymes. He's got his flute.
His
He's
clever raps and rhymes, to be rivaled only by Pumpkin Rapper, who we'll get to eventually. I'm very excited for Pumpkin Rapper.
oh, that
But
name sounds amazing.
but Quagmire has some clever raps and rhymes of his own.
He does indeed.
Man, I
Like
can't wait for Pumpkin Rapper. That's like Pudgy Pig and Pumpkin Rapper are like to me the two most iconic monsters from this season. And Pumpkin Rapper's not even from the Sentai. He's from Ju 2.
you too.
Ju 2. You know about Ju 2? What you know
What
about Ju 2?
the fuck is due to?
You don't know about Ju 2?
The fact that I'm asking what is due to should imply that I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
After I feel like we've talked about it before, maybe you just don't know the common term for it. When they were making Power Rangers and they were like, "Oh shit, we're out of footage, but we're making so much money. Hey
Ah,
Toei, can you make us some more?" That's Ju 2.
Japanese footage filmed exclusively for use in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yes, yes. So yeah, they ran out of footage and they were like, "Shit, but we're making so much money though," and they struck up a deal with Toei and they made them some more. And it's all exclusive Power Ranger footage. It's a really weird like case of there was kind of a lost media case around it for a while. I'm pretty sure it's all out there now. But they make a baffling decision. Spoilers for season two. The beginning of season two is very rough, especially when it comes to the Zord fights, because they decided that they were like, okay, we're starting our new season, so we have to have the cool new Zords right now, so we could like sell new toys. We'd sell the cool new Zords and show everybody how cool the new Zords are, so they buy the toys. But they still had a bunch of Ju2 footage, and they were using it. So what they did was they just took the Zord fight footage from Ju 2. It would just play footage of the monster, like shooting lasers or whatever, and then play footage of the Thunder Megazord being like, "Ah, I'm hit," and and then just play footage of the Thunder Megazord doing the sword thing, and then the monster dying. There's it's all clever editing so that you never see the Dino Megazord, which is the actual Megazord fighting the monster in the footage.
oh, that is kind of shitty.
It's pretty bad.
I feel like it's gonna be so obvious when we see it.
It's extremely obvious, yes.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of the character stuff in in those episodes is still good, but like, yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. Anyway, back to Island of Illusion. All right, we just arrived at the island. We gotta learn about Quagmire. Kimberly tries to be the peace talker. She's like, "Hey, like, where are we?" Rita, and she says Rita, and Quagmire's like, "Rita, I'm no friend of Rita's. Get out of here, Senorita." Whatever. I don't know what he actually said,
That's
but
not the I know friend of Rita's a friend of mine. He's he- something like I know he says something like no friend of Rita is a friend of Quagmire's or friend of mine, and then he follows that with a rhyme.
no
Let me
friend of Rita's is a friend of mine. I can't remember. It was bad. The spoil 99% of Quagmire's rhymes, probably 100%, honestly, I would venture to say, are bad ones.
let me see if I can find it for the content.
Also, can we what is Quagmire? What is he? Why does he know all? Is Quagmire a Mixus Is that what Quagmire is?
I don't know. You know more than me. You've seen all of it.
Well, I mean, Nightster. I assure you, Quagmire never appears again. We've both seen an equivalent amount of Quagmire.
Then I don't know. I mean, I
Unless he's in
guess
the
he.
comics. They put Quagmire in those comics.
I don't know. I haven't read much of the comics.
That's the final chapter of the comic is just when all seems lost, Quagmire returns to
I,
save the day. The
according,
Quagmire returns to save the day by telling the Power Rangers what they already know.
the only results are he's a magical rhyming creature who lives on the island of illusion.
Yeah, we don't know anything about him beyond this episode. But I'm saying, for the purpose of discussion, what is a Quagmire? Where did he come from?
Where did he go?
Where did you come from, Quagmire Joe?
Quagmire Joe.
I think because like he's all knowing is the weird part. Because he just like it's weird because only I feel like only Billy he says that to really like all of his other lines are vague enough that he might not know exactly what he's talking about, but then he gets to Billy and he's like, I sense a fight with a nightmare queen, and it's like that's just a thing that happened. How do you know about that?
Maybe he's a psychic. Like he said it in a way that um those psychic type normally would. Like, I sense so and so in your life, the the crystal ball or some crap, but he doesn't need one.
Maybe. I think my working theory is that he's a Mixes that he's like beyond regular reality.
Okay, I found his first rhyme when they find him.
What's the rhyme?
Rita, you stay away and don't come near. That wicked witch had sent you here. Uh, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Nightster, you alright?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I had to go back and hear the second part again. Uh, no friend of hers is a friend to me. You can't fool Quagmire. No
No
siree.
siree! That's what it was! Fucking Quagmire.
Who else but
Who
Quagmire?
else but Quagmire? So Quagmire disappears, and Kimberly's like, was it something I said?
Uh,
So then Goldar there's just Goldar in the sky now. Goldar is talking to the Power Rangers as if he's like the spirit of Mufasa from that like one shot in like Lion King 2 or whatever.
yeah.
Fucking Goldar's in the sky. And he's like, you seem to have lost your powers. You'll lose more than that soon. Ah. And then there's just 5 monsters. It's Pudgy Pig, but this is not the second appearance of Pudgy Pig I was talking about. Don't worry. This is but a small cameo. It's not what I meant. Pudgy Pig, Eye Guy, Snizzard, Pine Octopus, and Shell Shocked. Pine Octopus. I'm glad to see that Pine Octopus suit again. Pine Octopus so far is my favorite monster design we've seen. I fucking love Pine Octopus. He's just so he's like a biblically accurate angel, like that meme where he's just like this awful horror creature. I love
Yeah.
it.
I just love
Uh
the fact that a Porky Pig came again.
yeah, I love the
Even
Pudgy Jack and Shell Shock as
Pudgy
well.
Pig.
Snizzard's here. We don't get to hear Walter White say anything this time,
Uh,
but he's here.
and we got Eye Guy, the creepy one.
That guy's pretty creepy. Man, eye monsters are really creepy. I mean, listen, you see Eye Guy, you think Eye Guy's creepy? Just get ready for season 3, okay? Because the eye monster in season 3, you're not ready. You'll never be
There's
ready.
another one.
You'll never be ready for the eye monster in season 3.
There's another eye monster.
There is another eye monster. So
Aye, aye, aye.
the Rangers take up fighting poses and they're like, oh shit, the monsters are coming. We had no powers. This is a bad situation. And then the monsters just disappear. And the Rangers are like, what the fuck is happening right now?
It was
And
an
Goldar's like,
illusion.
the only thing real is the danger. It's the island of illusion.
Which is a weird line because if the only thing real is the danger, then wouldn't that make the monsters real?
Yeah, I guess that would qualify under danger. Well, I suppose the danger he's referring to is the disappearing forever, but
It's still a confusing line, just like
it's
the
yeah,
only thing
it's confusing for that point for sure.
It's like
Um,
he
and,
says it
and then
right
Zach
after.
starts being like, "Oh shit! Oh man, I can't do this! Oh no!" And then Nightster, if
Yes,
you okay, important clarifying question:
right.
if you're a superhero, but you don't have access to your superhero powers, but you've been a superhero for a while, you have the lived bodily experience of being a superhero. You're brave enough that you fight like laser shooting monsters constantly. I think you'd still be afraid of one snake in that case.
No,
So
because
there's just a snake, and Zach's like, "Oh, snake! I don't like snakes. I don't like this. I've had enough of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking island of illusion."
nice one. No, unless I'm completely missing something, maybe in the Snizzard episode, which
No, he did. They definitely do say he's afraid of snakes in this is an
uh
episode. Thinking about it, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain they do. But like, Ranger, it's one snake. It's one regular snake. You fought a snake monster and you did fine. It's just one regular snake that you have to deal with.
the only time he's ever been shown to be afraid of any animal that I can remember was spiders. So
Yeah, I think like bugs in general was kind of the what he was saying. Like all sorts of creepy crawlies, but snake aren't bug.
snake aren't bug.
Snake aren't bug at all.
Snake aren't bug.
So anyway, Zach sees one snake and he's like, "Ah, a snake!" And he starts to disappear. Then he's just half a Zach.
It just freezes up and then starts to disappear.
And Billy's like, "Oh, they're trying to make him disappear with his self doubt, but like in a nerd way." So Zach's fading. Okay, here's the weird part. So Quagmire shows up and explains how the Island of Illusion works. He's like, "Oh, his fear and self doubt is gonna make him fade," but obviously it rhymes what he's saying. But there'll be a line later that will make the fact that this already happened very confusing. So keep that in your pocket. And also keep your mute button on for a second, Nightster, because I have to go feed my cat because he won't shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, so Zach's about to die.
Long silence, and then Zach's about to die.
So Zach's about and Jason's like, "Fight it!" And Zach's like, "Snake!" And Goldar's like, "Ah, you're all gonna die!" And that's the end of part one.
Come on, man, fight it.
He can't fight the snake. The snake isn't real, by the way. Just to be clear,
Yeah,
it's the island of illusion. You see the snake, you're afraid of the snake, it makes you disappear. But the snake is fake, and the other people can't see the snake. And they're like,
only
"Zach,
Zach.
there's not
Snake.
actually a snake. Calm down." And he's like, "Ah, snake." So that's the end of part one. So Nightster,
Yep.
favorite character from part one of Island of Illusion.
Just because I was completely surprised to see him this soon, even though I'm kind of disappointed he wasn't. Um, I'm kind of disappointed now that he's not going to be as big as he was in Jew Ranger. Local.
Giving it to Lokar, okay.
I'm going to local. How about you?
Um, hmm. This one's a tough one because I feel like everyone is kind of in like rare bad form this episode. Zach thinks he can't dance for some reason and he's afraid of snakes. I guess maybe Zach is the only one I can actually give like a reason for. Like it doesn't seem like any of them are operating at top brass uh, in this particular episode. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it to Tommy because I like that he stays with the kids and like gets huddles under the table with them, and that he feels responsible for these kids because he was teaching them in a karate class. And I like that. So Island Illusion Part 1, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Tommy.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm not surprised, to be
Yeah, I
honest.
mean, I give it to Tommy a lot, and I know like everybody's like, "Oh, Tommy again," but like nobody else did anything really. Like the only thing I can say that I liked that a character did really is that Tommy cared about his kids. So I'm gonna give it to Tommy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm Illusion Part 2, baby. Never mind, actually, because we also do favorite scenes, which I forgot because I don't write those down. And we didn't do them retroactively for the episodes Night wasn't on. So I kind of forgot that we did them, but we do them. So what was your favorite scene in this episode?
Favorite scene from part one. Uh, it's really hard to boil it down because it really happened quite fast. The entire episode. It was all just setting up for part two. So I'm probably going to give it to Tommy's morph and then jumping into action because that's always just fun to watch.
Yeah,
I'm I'm easily pleased with the Green Ranger.
I'm trying to think of what my favorite scene is. I don't know if I have one. Because it's not. I guess it's not nothing. Like things happen, but like the things happen obviously just like amount to part two. Like nothing's super important, and like it feels like things are moving so fast, but like nothing is like holds weight to me in my heart and soul. Um, you know what? I'm gonna give it. This is really stupid. But I'm kind of reaching here. And I try to keep it separate from favorite characters. I don't want to just give it to Tommy huddling with the kids. I think I'm gonna give it to Goldar at the end. I think I just kind of like him being in the sky and being like, "You're all gonna die one by one." That's how the episode ends. Because I kind of I like the fucking Mufasa spirit Goldar. I think it's really silly, in a fun way. And I like the episode sort of fading on like you're gonna lose, and then it's like to be continued. I like that. So that's my favorite scene, I think.
Yeah,
And obviously we don't have
it's
to rank
funny.
it because it's getting ranked together with part two. So now
Yeah,
it's time for part two.
which starts off with right where we left off actually, with Zach just kind of stood there fading away, everyone telling him to fight it. And then I
Yeah,
think,
Quagmire pops in and he's like, "Only Quagmire can help you now,"
well, I think it was like,
which is also
uh,
confusing because of a line that comes later.
well, for some reason, actually, it was Kim that said, um, where's that guy that would know everything about this? What was his name? Quasley? Quasimodo? Quagmire?
You know
And then,
that's after this actually, but yeah, Zach's disappearing. Quagmire's
was,
like, "Only I can help them." Uh, Rita is like, "Yeah, Zach's gonna die. That's awesome." And then we go back to the island. Um, and they're trying to remember. This is when they're trying to remember Quagmire's name. Trini's the one that gets it. And then Kim tells Quagmire that Rita is making Zach fade away. Quagmire's like, "Oh, you're not a friend of Rita's," and it's like, you've been treating them as if you did not think that anymore. The past like 3 or 4 times you've appeared, you've been a helpful guiding hand to them. Every other time you've appeared except for that first time. But you're telling me just now is when you realize they're not cool with Rita? What?
so, like, why were you helping them in the first
Yeah,
place?
why were you showing up and being like, "Only Quagmire can help you now"? Oh, here I am, I'm Quagmire.
Is he meant to, is that meant to be him saying he's just a little shit? Where it's just like, haha, only I can help you, but I'm not gonna because you're friends of Rita. Haha.
Maybe. But then, like, the whole making him disappear with the fears thing is, like, Rita's doing that. So it's like, well, I guess he didn't know until the okay.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Maybe I could buy it, but like it's just a little weird. It's a little strange.
It is, yeah, I definitely agree.
So Quagmire is like, you got to think of positive thoughts. If you want the evil to be fought, think of positive thought or something like that. And Zach's like, I remember when I fought Plankton. I was gonna lose, but then I didn't lose. I won, and then he comes back. So yeah, this is a clip show of the. We all know the pattern. This is a pattern that like the Christmas episodes follow now, where it's like, oh, something's happened, and the Power Rangers don't remember that they're cool. And now they gotta remember that they're cool so that they can defeat the spell.
Yeah.
and and here's the clip show. So yeah, Zach is back. And we go back to Rita, and he's like, "Shit, Zach came back, but like they're on the island of illusion, and like the other Power Rangers, they're probably not gonna beat it, right?"
Oh,
No, the
that's
Power Rangers have never escaped a situation so dire before. It's never happened.
almost forgot. Um, I completely skipped over it there, but and there was also that one time where it wasn't just Quagmire that was rhyming; it was also Jason.
Yes, what did Jason say? What was Jason's clever rap and rhyme?
It was unintentional, probably, but he went, "All right, Zach, you're back."
Quagmire should have popped in and been like, nice one.
He shut up.
Nice one, bro.
A nice rhyme. You did that on time.
God damn it. So anyway, we go to the command center. Alpha and Zordon are trying to call the Power Rangers, but they can't. It doesn't amount to much. It's just so that we can be like, oh, it's dangerous. What's happening? Alpha's very sad because he doesn't want his human friends to get hurt. I
Yeah.
like how much Alpha loves the Power Rangers. That's like
Also,
that's like one of the purest, like nicest things to me in this in like the early Zordon era before Alpha 5 gets replaced with Alpha 6. It's just like the pure like friendship between Alpha and the Power Rangers. Like Zordon's one thing. Zordon they do have a positive relationship with, but like he's the mentor, he's the boss. He's like this weird mystical being who's like, "Oh, I know who every bad guy ever is. Let me tell you about him." Alpha's just this little robot who beat bops around. He's just like a little nice guy, and he wants to be best friends with the Power Rangers. It's so nice.
yeah, it, he's just a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
We love Alpha.
We love our Alpha. But regardless, Alpha blows up the computer console trying to contact the Power Rangers.
Which is the funniest scene in my opinion because he's just running around, and then the computer zaps him in the butt multiple times.
And
Like
then, yeah, the butt zap, computer explodes. Not a good
so,
time for Alpha.
is a command center itself sentient?
I don't. Maybe.
It's like it did zap him in the butt multiple times.
I think you're supposed to believe that's just like an electrical glitch that just so happens to comedically hit his buttocks constantly.
Yeah, just freaking coincidental. Yeah, that happened, and then I think we're back to the island.
Yeah, we go back to the island, and Tommy's like, "Hey, do you think Quagmire knows where the power coins are?" And then Quagmire pops up, and I think I remember the rhyme. I think this is another slant rhyme. There's a couple rhymes where he cheats a little bit. It's not like a real rhyme. It's just a slant rhyme. And I'm pretty sure what Quagmire says here is something to the effect of, Quagmire can help to get you home, but the coins you seek, you must find on your own.
And we'll get to that later. Oh,
Which
I have
they
things.
don't find them on their own. Spoilers, but
I have things to say about that.
so regardless, so Billy's like, maybe we should go the other way. So let's go. And then just as they're about to do that, Kimberly starts seeing, okay, this is where it gets stupid. So the idea of the Island of Illusion is supposed to be that it like shows you your greatest fears. Why
Like
is
how
Kimberly's greatest fear Bulk and Skull being nice guys?
the animals, no less.
Yeah, they're dressed as angels. Like they got I think one of them might have had a harp, but I might be imagining that. And there's like, oh, hey, little turtle, we gotta help you get home. Okay, so they kind of explain it, but it's just weird that this is what the angle they took for Kimberly was like, man, if Rita can make Bulk and Skull act like that, she could do anything. We're fucked, guys.
Yeah, I guess it was her fear was the idea that Rita could make anything happen if you could make Bulk and Skull act like nice people.
Yeah, they're like Rita's magic is so powerful that they could ultimately never hope to overcome it.
Yeah.
So Trini's like, Quagmire! And he's like, remember the toad. And Kimberly's like, I don't want to remember the toad. The toad was gross. And Tommy's
That's
like, you have
another
to remember the toad. Just do it.
that's another one that he shouldn't have known about. Where how did he
Oh
find
yeah,
out
yeah, you mentioned the
about
toad. Yeah. How do you know about that? He has to be a Mixus He has to be beyond reality.
he has to be. That's the only explanation.
We will also find out later. I don't want to spoil exactly how because it's a great moment. But we'll find out later. He also has the ability to freely travel between the Island of Illusion and Earth. So like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Either that or he escaped, but
Oh yeah, maybe he just hitched a ride with the Power Rangers, and we
maybe.
just didn't see it. But yeah, so she thinks about the time she shot that toad monster with the arrow, and that lets her come back. And then we get to Tommy. Hey guys, you know how Tommy constantly beats the shit out of putties? Like he's been doing it since like he was the moment he was introduced. He's just like the putties show up all the time. Everybody knows there's putties and you just fight them and it's not that big of a deal. Tommy's fear is that there's putties.
And
And he
there's
starts talking like there's like 1,000 putties. But there's
he
only
only sees
five
five.
because he's seeing his friends as the putties. So there's only five putties.
Like I would understand the whole oh there's hundreds of them quote if maybe we saw like an army of them.
Yeah, if they actually like CGI'd in like a fucking giant pile of putties, like okay, yeah, there's too many of them, but there's five, Tommy. You can fight five putties. I've heard a theory about this, but like it doesn't really make sense with the lines that Tommy says. So that kind of puts a hole in it. I had heard before people trying to explain away the flaws of Island of Illusion. They were like, no. Tommy's fear is not the putties. You see, when Tommy got turned evil, he fought five putties. So it's like a PTSD response about how when he got turned evil.
But no,
But
he,
the
he literally says like
but he
the
says
same.
there's too many of the putties, but there's only five.
I'm pretty sure he specifically mentions hundreds. I might be
he
getting that
might
wrong.
say he might say there's hundreds of them, but then it just cuts to the putty shot and there's still five.
Oh, hold on. I've got to mute for a second. Sorry about that.
No
Okay, so
worries.
Tommy putties. Where's the putty scene? There it is. Okay, so he's looking around. He says tons of them.
There's tons of them. 5 whole putties, a ton.
And right after he says tons of them, it shows us a shot of Tommy's perspective where he's looking around and there's only 5 because
There's
it's his
5
friends.
putties.
Because it's his friends.
And then Quagmire, they call Quagmire. Quagmire shows up, and he's like, "You're good. Remember how you're good, actually." Um, and then Tommy remembers a time where he fought a bunch of putties on his own, and it's like, okay, so why were you scared in the first place, Tommy?
Yeah.
So Tommy remembers the time that he beat some putties up, and that makes him come back to normal. So good for Tommy.
Like all Quagmire said was, don't let Rita stir you wrong. Remember, you're strong. And then Tommy's like, oh yeah, I'm strong enough to fight putties. Bang.
Yeah, there you go.
He's he's
And
fixed.
then Trini has a realistic panic attack.
This one I actually understand. Like I can get behind it, but it was just funny having her sit down and say, "Billy, you're too high,"
Yeah, because
and
Billy's right there and he's not too high. Like it's
he's just on the ground, and he
she's
looks
just
at the
having
other.
like this weird PTSD flashback, and it's just so jarring as compared to the rest of it where we saw like a real illusion that the Rangers were beholding. This is just a memory that she's like experiencing so vividly that she's like fallen to the ground and is now disappearing and like reliving it to the point of physically saying the same lines even though it's not happening actually. It's really it's really jarring, this realistic panic attack in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Like they actually show some PTSD from,
Billy, you're too high up.
and he's just stood there like, I'm right here, like I'm on the ground. What do you mean?
So yeah, Trini, do they even have to call Quagmire for this one? Because she's literally in the process of remembering her strong memory.
Let me check.
Yeah, no. Trini does show up, and she's like, "Overcome your past. I'm Quagmire." And
Overcome your past. I'm Quagmire.
then
Imagine if that's what you said. Okay, because Zach said, I remember what Quagmire said.
and Quagmire appears because say his name and he will appear. And he
No,
says,
all he
"Stop
says
it."
is, just do your best to pass her test. And then he pisses off.
Oh yeah,
Like, hey,
that one was very low effort.
do
So
your best.
Trini's back. Trini's good. She remembered how she overcame her fear of heights. And then Billy's just like, "Man, I don't even know how to science us now." And then he starts disappearing. Like there's no illusion at all for Billy. He's just like, "Shit, I can't do a computer to get us out of here."
I'll do science. It gets, I'm realizing now, it gets less and less illusion the more it goes along. Because
Well, no, because the last one has a big illusion, and that's probably my favorite moment of the episode. But
but the thing
so
is, you see, Zach saw a snake. He saw something that wasn't actually there. Then we had Tommy see something in place of something else. Then we had someone reliving a memory, and now we're having someone just not having an
not
illusion
be
of any
just a
sort.
general sense of not confidence.
Exactly, and that's going to be the same again.
Yeah, and then this is the one rhyme I remember exactly, which is even though it's like the most like the least offensive one, this is the one I remember is like another slant rhyme. It's I recall or I sense a fight in a land of dreams where Billy fought a nightmare queen. Then Billy's like, "Oh yeah, I remember when I killed Madame Woe. I'm good actually." And then he comes back.
Oh, woe is me.
And then Jason's like, all right, now it's time to get off the island. And Goldar's like, if you were a good leader, you'd already be off the island. And Jason's like, oh, maybe he's
Oh
right.
man, right. Oh man.
Man, I should have done that. And then I really like this because the illusion that Jason sees is all of his friends fading away. And Jason's like, no, I failed. And this is the hardest one to overcome. Like, I don't know, it would be extremely hard to overcome this one because, like, that's been the stakes this entire time, and that's what he saw happen. So, like, I wouldn't even blame him for fully believing this. But then it's just like Quagmire's like, hey, you could win. Just remember that time that you won before. And then Jason's like, yeah, I can.
All right.
And then he comes back, and his friends aren't dead actually.
He's like, yeah, all right. Because that's just how he talks. He's a deep voice and he drags it out.
All right,
All
yeah,
right, let's do this. Yeah.
all right, Power Rangers, let's do it. I'm better at the
Yeah,
Jason
right.
voice than the guy who does the Jason voice when Austin St. John walks off set, by the way. They should have hired me in 1994, 8 years before I was born.
It's Morphin time.
It's morphin' time. But regardless, the final illusion is broken, and the Rangers just get their stuff back.
Yeah,
Which
it just appears in their
what?
hands. It's like part of the. We were led to believe that part of the mission on the island was going to be venturing out to find their coins, but no, and they just appear in their palms randomly.
Yeah, well, because they didn't find them on their own. They just appeared to them when they were done with all of Rita's illusions. There was no finding on their own that happened.
Even Goldar said you had to find the power coins, but no, they just showed up once they beat the illusions.
And then they're like, I think they are like, oh, we could have just escaped immediately if only we had confidence in ourselves before. And then Rita turns giant, and just starts fucking with the island. Is it escalation? Is this the first time we see Rita grow? It must be, right?
Does Rita grow?
Yeah, for like a second. She grows and she starts like shaking the island of illusion in her hands, remember?
Oh yeah, she does.
Yeah,
I forgot about that bit.
so she creates an earthquake in the island of illusion by turning giant and shaking it around. So the Power Rangers morph, they teleport off the island. Rita tries to destroy the island with them on it, but they escape before she can. And then they get back to Earth. They go right back into their Zords. The toxic foam melts away. And for some reason, Tommy is also in the Megazord cockpit now. And then they
Yeah.
combine their Zords into the Mega Dragon Zord. And then they call Titanus to do the Ultra Zord. And then they shoot up. The Mega Dragon Zord destroys Mutitus. And then they call Titanus and form the Ultra Zord to try to get Lokar. But Lokar flees before the Ultra Zord can hit him.
Yeah, he teleports,
Yeah.
which I suggest this is not going to be the last we see of him.
Yeah, but I think he comes back in Doomsday. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. So the Rangers go back to the youth center. It's dance competition time. We have to assume there's more than two competitors in this dance competition, but we only see two. One of them is Bulk. He does so bad that one of the judges gives him a negative score.
Negative, I
Negative
think.
3 he gets. It was like 0, 1, -3 were the three ratings he got.
Yeah.
And then they call Zach up, and he's like, I don't know. And his friends are like, come on, get out there. And Zach gets out there and he gets straight tens and he wins because fucking, of course, he did. But the tunes are particularly kicking. So the Rangers are like, man, that's some sick tunes. Who's the DJ? And they turn to the DJ table, and the DJ's
Well, like that.
Quagmire.
Yeah.
So Quagmire is really good at DJing. It's scratching some tunes, apparently, as it turns out. And yeah, Zach wins a trophy. I don't know if he won the trophy, but he wins the competition. And that's the end of the episode. That's Island
Yeah,
of Illusion. So, favorite character in Island of Illusion Part 2? Nightster.
I've said this joke so many times, but who else but Quagmire?
Who else but Quagmire? Understandable.
How
Island
about
of
you? Who's your
Illusion Part
favorite?
2. Mm, you see, I really. Hmm. Who's the best character in this? Hmm. I think I'm gonna give it to Jason. Cause like Jason is kind of like full leader mode this whole time. Like he's very active in encouraging his friends to fight the spell and stuff. And then when it comes time for him to be the victim, what he's afraid of is like his friends dying. And I like that about I like that being ascribed to Jason. It works well for his character, and some of the developments he'll go through later. So I like Jason here. I think I'm gonna give it to Jason for Island of Illusion Part 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
But all right, now we have to rank Island of Illusion.
Are we not doing favorite moments from part two?
Fuck yeah! Favorite scene. Go ahead, Nicer. What was it?
Favorite favorite scene from part two. Um, even though I don't like how it made no sense for what his fear was, I do like the whole Tommy fighting the Putty Rangers. A nice bit of action between the clip show. So I appreciated that much. That's probably my favorite scene.
For me, I think I'm gonna stop with the whole trying to keep the favorite character, the favorite scene separate thing. Like maybe I'll still do it a little bit, but I'm gonna stop being so shy. When I'm confident that that's not the case, that they're related, I gotta give it to Jason's illusion. I really like how that scene was done. So now we
Yeah.
gotta rank Island of Illusion.
Okay, so
What
right.
happens in I Guy besides that they fight I Guy?
Well, there's that kid that made the VR headset,
Oh,
and
that's the episode with little William and the VR
yeah,
headset.
yeah. And then Eye Guy kind of captures him in a weird little orb, and Billy tries to save him, and so does Zach.
I think this is better than that. I don't know if it's better than Tickle Sneezer though. Like
Well,
Island of Illusion was not a great episode of Power Rangers.
yeah, I'd put it either just above or just below Eye Guy.
Yeah, I think I like it better than I Guy, so I'm gonna say the new number 21 is Island of Illusion.
Makes sense.
All
So,
right, so next time we're talking about Cosmic Fury episode 4. We're finally going back to that well, which is exciting. And no longer will I have a bitch in my ear telling me how much it sucks. So we'll see how I feel about it going forward. Now let me see if I can find out what episode 4 of Cosmic Fury is called, so I can tell you, the listener, what to look forward to next time. It's called Teamwork, which is already an episode of Mighty Morphin. It's the worst episode of Mighty Morphin, so I don't know if I feel like that's a bad sign. That's an interesting omen. I believe. Well, I guess this is kind of plot spoilers, but like it's plot spoilers that I won't say it. But I think I know what happens in that episode, and I don't think I'm excited about it.
yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But Nightster,
Um,
where can our listeners find you?
Well, same place. You can always find me. You can find me on my Nightster YouTube channel for non-Toku related stuff, and Toku Thrill for Toku related stuff if you like Sentai or Kamen Rider or stuff like that. And oftentimes I will be recording with Riely here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me. you could find at linktr.ee/Riely Cinematic Universe. That's RIELY Cinematic Universe. Particular shout outs to my live podcast that I do because we love to have a pop-in chat. They are both on Thursdays. I do a noon show on Thursday at youtube.com/@demigloom. This is all Eastern time, by the way. That's the Trans Fat Experience, where me and my friend Demigloom talk about whatever we want and have a good time. And then Thursdays at 7 p.m. on the YouTube channel Riely and Friends, my main YouTube channel. You can find The Death Stream, which is a politics and current events show I do with my good friend Brad. And there's so many more podcasts and YouTube channels and all sorts of internet projects you can find, all at linktr.ee/Riely Cinematic Universe. And that's it, folks. Thanks for listening to Megazord Radio. It's time to do the outro. Nightster's favorite part.
I actually forgot how it works.
Did you?
It's only been like, I know we say it's Morphin time at some point, but it's only been a few days and I forgot.
I say I'm morphin' out of here, and then give it a 3
Okay.
count, and then we say it's morphin' time.
Okay, alright.
Alright, folks. Until next time, we're morphin' out of here.
Morphin.
It's morphin' time!
What the hell was that?
What do you mean? What the hell was that, Nightster? We literally went over this last week, where I was like, why did you go on the 3 count? And you were like, I was waiting for you to go. And I'm like, I have awful reaction time. Or, no, the opposite of that. I have great reaction time. I have awful counting. So I was waiting for you to go.
I heard that and I told myself right from now on, oh, I won't wait for him. So I'll start.
And then you waited for me. That's it. That's the end of the episode. We're not doing a second take. That's it. You go home. The episode's over.
See you guys next week.